Welcome to Face, the program
that frontally discusses
political and social issues in Nigeria. The weekly program brought to you on Wednesday by 6 p.m. Nigerian time, anchored by Prince Ewemade Concourse, powered by GCSDN.
Join us.
We are live. Thank you for joining us today on Face to Face program. I am your humble brother, Prince Ewemade Konkon. Our topic for today is why is the Nigeria Labour Congress placing a greater emphasis on wage increase? That is our topic for today because personally, I don't believe that the Nigeria Labour Congress is fight or taking the right step in addressing the social issues faced by Nigerians. And I will tell you my reasons. Nigeria Labour Congress, they've been advocating for wage increase for quite some time now, even threatening to strike against the federal government. I think for me, this is a misplaced priority. Let me just bring some news here. We can see on the screen. Let's see, yeah. Nigeria Labour Union advocating for 494,000 minimum wage demand fit scatter the economy in Nigeria government. You know, it is quite laughable for NLC to be demanding that the federal government must pay Nigerian workers 494,000 without addressing the root cause of the problem. If you pay Nigerian workers $1 million, 1 million naira $1 million naira every month, the price of commodity in the markets are still on the roof, on top. They cannot. They still wouldn't be able to survive on that 1 million naira. My own belief is that the NSC should address the root cause of the increment of gari in the market. Gari is locally produced in Nigeria. It's not imported. It has nothing to do with dollar. Gari is locally made. I know how to fry gari. I fried gari those days when I was way younger. Gari, you can plant gari in your backyard and harvest it and go and sell it to the market. It has nothing to do with dollar. But gari today you cannot buy. Same goes to tomatoes, pepper, and every other locally made product or locally produced product. Look at the NSC. Instead of them to begin to chase the root cause, instead of them to begin to fight the root cause of this madness that has taken over our society, they are busy fighting the federal government over increment of minimum wage. When you pay somebody 494,000, they go to market to buy a bag of rice that used to be 7,000 naira during Jonathan in 2013. It's now 80-something thousand, 90,000. They will take 80,000, 90,000 from 494,000. They will take beans. They will take gari that used to be sold for peanut. They will take every other thing. How much is going to be left on this 494,000? So for me, it's a misplaced priority. So I'm going to bring my very dear brother, who is always a part of this program, to also weigh in on this conversation. And you, the audience that is sitting in your parlor, sitting in your comfort zone, sitting anywhere in the part of the world, you can also send us your contribution. This is a program that comes your way every Wednesday, 6 p.m., same time. We never fail. Even if we fail, we always apologize. Let me bring my brothers to the studio so we can begin this conversation for tonight. Because for me, NSC, they are doing what they are not supposed to be doing at this point in time. They should be protesting for the rise of things, the increment of cost of in locally made products in Nigeria. They should be fighting to bring down those price, not demanding for 494. 494,000 naira for minimum wage is an outrageous, it's a misplaced priority. Let me bring my brother so I don't talk too much. Hello, my brother. How are you today?
Hello.
Chief
How are
MD,
you, my
you are
dear brother?
live.
How are you? Good evening and great to be here
I'm
today. I hope you can hear me.
100%.
Good. I'm
I can
dressed
hear
in
you.
a labor member union like person with the hat, a bit of camouflage to reflect my laborism in the both in the party and in the
Good.
belief of a liberal democracy and equity, fairness and justice. So for that reason, I stand with solidarity with all workers in Nigeria that is demanding fairness across board, most especially fair wages across board. That's where I stand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like I said during my opening speech, for me, for Labor Unite for the Nigeria Labor Congress and TUC to be demanding 494,000 as minimum wage to the workers. For me, I believe 100% is a misplaced priority. Because if they give them 494 and the price of commodity in the market is on the top, on the roof, they still cannot afford it. So why how come the Nigeria Labour Congress and TUC are not channeling the energy into bringing the price of food down? Like I'll take Gary for example. I'm getting some noise from your background.
No, no, okay, sorry, it's cut off.
So
It's
why how
just
come the
a
Nigeria
pop-up. Apology.
yeah, okay, okay. How come the Nigeria Labour Congress they are not focusing their attention on demanding that price of everything needs to go back to the way it was. Because I remember vividly in 2013, I was in Nigeria. The price of rice was 7.5 in GRO in Benin, not in the market. I used to buy it very close to my house in GRO there by Benson House at University. I used to buy from a lady for 7,500 for a bag of rice. Today, the same bag of rice is sold for 80, 90,000 naira. So if paraventure the government was to agree to the minimum wage of 494, if they're minus 90,000 from 494, the balance will probably be three something. And they minus the bag of beans, minus a bag of gari yam and all the other commodity that goes with it for you to be able to survive on a daily and month and weekly and monthly basis. It will amount to nothing. So I'm going to ask you this question, my brother,
Right.
because it's for me, I think it's a misplaced priority. So, what is your thought about the Labor Congress fighting for increment of the minimum wage?
Well, I number one, like I said, I support labor movement and labor and workers all over Nigeria. I think it's a misplaced priority. The intention, as noble as it may be, but their their request is unrealistic and borderline suicidal for the economy. Don't forget, this labor union, it will only affect civil servants far more so than the general public. It's mostly the civil servant that will be the benefactor of this. I know the federal government and some private sector have agreed on 62,000 I mean, per month, 62,000 naira, but they're not looking at the economic effect of that. Let's say, for instance, you have a small kiosk, you run a little beer parlor, you have 3 staff, 4 staff, or 5 staff. to run the beer parlor and you're paying them that minimum of 62,000 naira, the business cannot survive. What is the income of that business generating? I know there's other argument that it should be done state by state, but I believe there should be a baseline minimum wage across the whole state. Then allow other states to increase their own minimum wage, but there should be a baseline. The baseline of 30, 40,000 is more realistic than anything else. Across that, so each state can pay whatever they want. But for the labor union to be demanding from, I had was 250K to 490, let's just say 500K a month. For what?
494.
But the thing, 494, the economic indication that cause inflation or make the standard of living very expensive across everywhere in the world, even including UK. There are about 6 indicators, 6 to 7. Let me just list them out. One is housing, affordable housing. 2 is transport, cost of transportation. 3 is cost of food. 4, the cost of energy. 5, health, the cost of health. 6, education, and the list of that is security. 7. Now, let's look at the cost of housing. Even in UK, for instance, the rising cost of housing has drove a lot of people into poverty because affordability of it. So you can hear the Conservative, the Labour Party promising they'll build 100,000 homes a year in order to bring down the cost of housing market and not total privatization of the housing market. Just like Nigeria, 90% of the housing being built are private enterprise, and it's ridiculous. The amount they sell a house is like you're trying to sell your kidney and your life to be able to live. There's no civil servant that can afford a land or buy a house. That's why it is in the responsibility of the government to build low-income housing. We have to look at the cost of living. What is the rising cost of living? If we can build low-income houses for civil servants, for working class and the poor, to be able to afford living with their living wages, to be able to afford affordable rent, it will reduce the cost of living. And secondly, we also have to look at taxation. We have to look at tax the private enterprise where they charge exorbitantly because there's high demand for housing. 1 room to rent in Benin, you'll be looking at 10, 15,000 a month. How much are you making if you are just a restaurant salesperson in a shop or restaurant? You're paying 15,000 naira a month for a room, to rent a room. Half of your wages is gone in most cases. So, same thing with cost of transportation. Just to fly from Lagos to Abuja, for instance, you're looking close to return ticket about 300,000 naira. So, what is an average person can afford can do that? There's no direct train. If we're to take a public transport to Abuja, it's a hell of a money as well. Like driving down, even if you were driving down yourself to Abuja, you spend close to 100,000 in petrol. I've done it before, or diesel, just to drive down. Forget the stress. You understand? And if you were to join the public transport, that's another hell.
Yes.
So those are the things that the labor union should be fighting. So let's reduce the cost of living. Let's focus on the need. We want government to help regulate this. We want government to invest in this so that the cost of living will be reduced, the standard of living will increase. Then the talk of wages, because even if let's say the government agree that they'll pay each worker 1 million naira, you know what will happen? The cost of everything else will shoot up. The cost of rent will go up. The cost of food will go up. The cost of transportation will go up. The cost of look at they tried to increase the cost of energy last time. That's where labor unions supposed to be protesting. They cannot increase the tariff on on electricity when number one they rarely electricity produce, and then you're increasing the salary without increasing wages or opportunity for financial growth. So it's a backward approach. Labor union is not only about fighting for increase of salary, it's about the welfare of the workers. That's what labor union represent. It's a total thing. It's about the welfare of the workers. They're not protesting that we need a public health care. that every worker can be able to have good quality health care. They're not protesting on that. They're not protesting on we need good public schools. Not all of our kids we can afford to put them in private school, private university. Look at what happened. They suddenly increased arbitrarily the cost of universities in Nigeria from 25, 30 to 100 and hundred of thousands of public universities. They're trying to compete with the private universities. It shouldn't be so. Labor unions should be protesting on that. And so you cannot increase the cost of university fees for students where most of our children will be going. Because your children, as a civil servant, cannot afford to go to the private university. That's why they should be protesting. The union is about the total welfare, not just the salary. And then hyper focusing on salary take away the whole essence of labor union. And that is the problem. The leaders of the labor union are just hyper focused on the money they get. They're not different from the politicians. They're not carrying out their task as a union leader. Because as a union leader, an average worker have a life. Let's just take a single worker. You should be also saying the government should be putting on more opportunity for people to upscale their skill, more training. We are rapidly going to the age of AI and IT. We're already in the IT market. What kind of benefit are they looking for to fight that union workers can get extra training to improve themselves? They're not doing that. So how much is 494,000 naira a month would actually give them? Nothing. It will only impoverish the state even more. Because if Lagos State might be able to do that for the civil servant, what happened to the bus conductor? What happened to the restaurant girl? What happened to the sales assistant? Would you say because you work in the ministry, you get 494,000 naira a day, your job is far more superior than the sales girl? It doesn't make sense at all. At all. So they should be fighting for more benefits, more low housing, more health care, more education budget for them, rather than just say, give me more money, give me more money, give me more money. It lacks sincerity of purpose. And it also shows that the caliber of labor union are not well critical minded people, because they want to drive the economy of Nigeria to the dustbin. They're not trying to help the economy of Nigeria, and it's just about them, not about the nation, or not even about the workers they represent. That's the problem. Now, somebody in Jigawa State, if you're giving that person 495,000 and you're giving somebody in Lagos State the same amount, do you think that's a fair wage? I'm not saying Jigawa as I'm comparing Lagos, even in Edo State, to compare to somebody in Lagos State, for instance. It's not a fair wage. So we have to have a market force wage analysis. There should be bare minimum, which I agree across the whole nation, because or else some state will pay far less to nothing. There should be bare minimum, but not at this rate which they are demanding. It's unrealistic. It's a very stupid approach, and it's not critically minded thinking. The union, and then focus on the total welfare of the workers. Worker safety at work. What are the kind of worker safety? Health and safety policy, health and safety laws that can just not be fired. These are the things they should be pushing. They should also be pushing protection for their staff at work, where the superior cannot use a superior advantage to start taking advantage of a junior staff. That's a safety issue, whereby you see most of these ladies, young ladies, trying to get into the labor force, into the ministry, and the boss is trying to solicit for sexual favors for them to be able to get a job or be able to get promotion. That's what labor union is supposed to represent. Say, we need this type of law to be passed. Total welfare, protection, not just financial gain for the few. And I'm against that.
Thank you so much.
Even though somebody like me support Labour Party, support Labour Union. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Like you said, rightly said, labor union primary responsibility is to protect the workers. That is their primary responsibility. But for the past few years or for some decades now, I think the labor union, Nigeria Labor Congress, has failed in every ramification. If you ask me, this is my own opinion. Because when they're negotiating about the minimum wage, from history, from what I understand in the past, right from the times of Adams Ali Oshomole, according to Obasanjo, who said Adams Oshomole will negotiate with them at the end, will come back, and what transpired between them is left between them as well, and all that. The Nigeria Labor Congress, they are not doing their job properly. They should be ashamed of themselves, because you are asking for a minimum wage of 494,000. The problem the workers are facing today is what you just explained. Their transportation, everything has gone up from the place they used to probably ride for 100 naira, probably gone up to say 500 naira today because of the rise of the cost of fuel. This is a locally manufactured product. Again, the cost of food, everything has gone up. So if labor were up to the task, doing their job as they should be protesting protest against the government for the rise in cost of locally manufactured products, gari, beans, plantain, all these things, tomatoes, all these things, fish, the things that is not being imported or tied to dollar. I understand when some of these foreign products are tied to dollar, they call exchange rate and all that. But locally manufactured products, we are so blessed. We have edible land. Whatever you plant in the soil in Nigeria must surely grow. In the south, in the north, must surely grow. So Labour Party, sorry, I beg your pardon, not Labour Party. Nigeria Labour Congress, they should be ashamed of themselves. Because if they were truly fighting for the Nigerian masses, for the civil servant, the labor people, they will be on the street of Nigeria now protesting against the rise in cost of locally manufactured products. I also go back, take cement, for example. We have everything to manufacture cement. We have all the stones. Just name whatever you need to produce cement. It will shock you that cement that is locally manufactured in Nigeria is being sold for over maybe almost, it should be about, the last time I heard about it, is about 16,000 naira per bag. But in Cotonou, when you cross over to Cotonou, cement is sold for 1,000, equivalent of 1,000 naira. In Cotonou, they don't produce it, and they import it from Nigeria. It's sold for 1,000, equivalent of 1,000 naira. So those are the things that the Labor Congress should be fighting for. Because they're fighting for 494,000. So at the end, the government will call them to a round table and say, what do you want? What do you want? And they will give them some money, and at the end of the day, they'll say, okay, we'll settle this. That's all they are doing. They are just making noise like empty vessels. They should be ashamed of themselves. Anyway, let me move on to the next question. What attributes should we consider when backing a specific? No, sorry, that's not. Reflecting on our nation past, there was a time in Nigeria. There was a time when the workers were contented with a salary of 1,500 naira. You know very well. You and I, there was a time in our history that civil servants, they go home with a paycheck of 1,500, 1,600 naira. And they were able to live comfortably, survive comfortably. buy a brand new car at a higher purchase comfortably. What happened to those days, my brother?
Well, it's very clear because we have leaders that care. We have leaders who actually wanted to lead for the collective good of the people. We have leaders who understand the welfare of people, humanity. Who cares? The sort of leaders we have today, and the labor union is a reflection of it. It's about them, not about the people they're trying to govern. Look at what happened the last Senate, the new Congress that just came in. The first thing they did was not to attack or tackle the rising cost of energy. They voted to buy themselves a car worth 160 million. That was the first thing they did. Not like, let's look at the rising cost of energy. Subsidies removed. What's the alternative? What can we do? Should we bring back subsidy? Should we? None of that. That's the first thing. They then went further to pay billions to redo the car park where they park their cars. Donate another billions to build a new house for the vice president. Billions. Even though donate billions of money for people to go, and billions of money directly to Saudi Arabia for holy pilgrimage. Basically give billion of money to Saudi Arabia for holy pilgrimage. And nothing they have come up with to address one single thing in Nigeria yet. Those are the leaders we have. The same leaders we have in the labor union. They are only looking out for themselves, not what is good for not the greater good of the society. When things were then good, we have people who cares. Not high polluted people, not people with degrees as long as a Iroko tree, who can blow grammar until the sky go, but we have people cares. We have people who genuinely believe in the welfare of the society and the welfare of people in general. We don't have that these days in the politicking or the political bodies we have. Look at Yahya Bello. Yahya Bello stole to the point he was using for a school to launder money out of the country. He stole so much money. Right now, it's under hiding in the governor's mansion. And nobody is talking about that. Where's the union? Salary were not paid. Road were not fixed. There was a video of Yahya Bello's wife giving all just before the election or something like that, giving people 1 million cash. All the service walk out, and people were like hailing and everything, and people were praising her in the video. I like, that's the state money. Give and take 1 million that she gave a lot of people that day, probably 50, 100 million, even a billion. Who knows? That's the little we saw. That's just about them. Nothing else. Just about them. As terrible as Wike might be, and Wike is not an angel, and I agree that. In 4 years, Wike built 12 bridges. 12 bridges in 4 years in the state. Go and see what Wike has turned the state into. As crazy people might think Wike is. And I'm not saying Wike is a saint. And I'm not saying Wike did not play the same game everybody, but go and see what Wike have done. In less than 2 years, a year and a half, go and see what Alex Oti is doing in the state. All the pension up to date, back salary, cleared everything out. Pension paid today. Salary paid. Civil servant salary cleared. Going forward, civil servant salary are consistent. All the abandoned projects, they have been paid. It's going back to even redo them. In Abia State, the previous governor was declared, the kind of, what do you call it, or basically kind of commissioning a project. Airport has been commissioned in Abia State. Money has been eaten. Airport, day. money, they don't see. Abia today, Abia is an oil-rich state, but they don't have an airport. And we have a governor that served 8 years. How long does it take to build an airport within the space of 6 months? It was commissioned. It was never built. Many commissioned things. So those are the things that you think labor union will be protesting about. Like, build the airport because there'll be more workers. When there are more workers, there are more members. No, they're not. Look at what happened in Kenya. Just the government want to increase taxes. The union and the masses came out and said, no, you're not increasing that. Our standard of living is, we're struggling. And you want to increase more taxes on us? The union came out and the people followed them because they know it affects all of them. Where is the union protesting about the cost of living? Where is the union protesting about the rising cost of energy? Where is the union protesting about insecurity? Where is the union protesting about housing? Where is the union protesting just the basic welfare? Just basic welfare. Protesting when they increase the school fees. Where are they? No, it doesn't matter to them. It only matter to them so them to solely get more money for themselves. And those are the kind of leaders we have in the society. That's why change is necessary. It's absolute. I would have wished Peter Obi won the election. I'm not digressing to that. Because it's the only person that talked about the welfare of the people. But that we are where we are today. We don't have a compassionate leaders or people with a compassionate heart, with an emotional intelligence in the office. That is the problem. We have callous, cold, wicked, self-centered, and selfish people in the position to do good. Instead, they only serve their own interests. And you notice something. Most of these so-called leaders, this is one thing that really beats me. Most of these so-called political leaders are the most religious of them all. They go to church, they go to mosques, they fast and pray and do all these religious things. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't do that, don't do that. But they steal massively. And they don't feel judged by their God for the level of theft they're doing to destroy life, opportunity, and hope for their fellow human being. And the next minute you see them in church, in mosques praying. That's why Fela says, if they follow me to open eye. These people are basically thieves. There's no better words for it. They don't care. We need political leaders that care, that is compassionate. Not political thieves, hiding underneath the umbrella of religiosity. They hide their wickedness under the umbrella of religiosity rather than come the truth. They are the holier than thou. I rather have an uneducated, unreligious person to govern than a religious bigot and thief and wicked-minded people who does not care as long as it's for them. They will still. It's only in Nigeria. The Minister of Education, under Buhari, his kids were graduating in UK. Is the Minister of Education, the staff were on strike, and he openly said in the media, I don't care. That's the Minister of Education under Buhari. When there was a strike, openly, I don't care. While his own children is graduating in UK, the Nigerian children that voted for Buhari, they are supporting the party. The people that live in the country, you say you don't care. Why the teachers were on strike? You didn't try to meet with them, you didn't try to make peace with them, but you are also getting salary or even stealing the money to pay school fees for your own children in a foreign country. I don't care. That was his words. So we need politicians that cares. We need leaders that cares, not the one that will come and give us grammar and good talk and good speech and all that. Not the one that will come and tell us they have PhD, PFF, whatever, master's, professional, with all this professional body telling us a good language. I can have somebody who cannot speak a language, any foreign language at all, whose grammar is bad, whose English is unbearable, but it's a compassionate human being. It's a man with a heart that cares. He has an emotional intelligence. It's balanced and it's also patriotic. That's not driven by religious agenda like we have in Buhari or driven by a tribal agenda. But the one Nigerian united under God is his first thing. And the family unit is important. Since the advent of Buhari, we have a disintegrated government. Sorry,
Thank you.
go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you know, it really baffles me to see the kind of Nigeria that we have today. Because looking back, like I said before, looking back, people used to survive on a salary of 1,500 naira. That 1,500 naira, they'll be able to send their children to school, pay their school fees, feed their family, buy a car for hire purchase, and still live comfortably for 8,500 naira. That was the Nigeria that I know. The Nigerian Labour Congress have quite a lot of responsibility, which they are not doing at the present time. Some of the things you've said, probably 99.9% of the things you've said, those are the area that the Nigerian Labour Congress should be focusing on. When someone is looking for a job and the director wants to sleep with the person, those area concerns the Nigerian Labour Congress. They should be looking into the welfare of the civil servants or of the workers. Let me put it that way. The Nigerian Labour Congress, they have failed in every ramification. The only area that I can say that they've not failed is the area that they can negotiate and get money from the government. That's the only thing they are good at. When you see them on the social media, on the newspaper, having a word press conference, doing all their gra. It's all about ekuje, ego, money, their benefit. That's all they do. They make Obasanjo just said it about Adam Soshomole. They will do all the gra in heaven and earth. At the end, they will get whatever they want. Because the area they should be looking at, they are not even bothered about it. They are not looking at those areas. They are not looking at those areas. They're focusing on how they can get money from the federal government. The most important thing for the Nigerian society today, or for the Nigerian workers, is the rise of cost of living. Those are the areas that need to be addressed. Those are the areas that they need to barricade every street, every nook and cranny of Nigeria for. If there should be a strike, the strike should be all about to drive down the cost of living. That should be the reason for going for a strike. Not because you are demanding for 494, that even if they are paid 1,000 and 1 million naira, they still cannot afford to buy food from the market. Why is our gari so expensive today? Gari is locally manufactured, locally produced from your backyard, from your farm. Beans, maize, tomatoes, pepper, fish. All these things are they are not tied to dollars. They have nothing to do with dollars. They have nothing to do with foreign exchange. My last question for you, my brother. If you had the opportunity to sit one-on-one with Ajero, the Nigeria Labour Congress leader, and the TUC Osifo, the TUC president, If you have the opportunity to sit with them, what will you tell them?
It's very simple. I'll say you are not an honest broker and you really don't care about the labor workers. If you do care, as you pretend to be, these are the things you should fight for. One, the basic minimum wage you're requesting is not realistic. Ask for hourly rate. Because if you say minimum wage differs. And what is minimum in Lagos cannot be applied to minimum in Edo. Be ideal. Start with a basic. What is the basic hourly rate? Because I can pay you 30,000, but you're working 100 hours in a month. It work out that 100,000 that I'm giving you in a month is only less in an hour, less than 5 naira. If you even divide 30,000 to average those people working in the restaurant, they do like 12 hours, 24, 4 days on or 5 days on, hours a week. Times it by 4. By the time you look at the 30, 40,000 naira, it's less to nothing. Ask for minimum wage hourly rate. It means then you're beginning to break it down and also give the state the power to set their minimum wage per workers. Hourly rate is the way to go. Right? Not just to civil servants, it should apply across all board, both private and public sector. Then ask for other benefits. Low-income housing. Ask for government to build low-income housing. Have government to build more community hospitals, affordable for healthcare, education, technical colleges, so that workers can be trained in new. Ask for package total welfare for all workers, not just the civil servants. Not just the civil servant alone, but the all workers. What is good for the civil servant is also good for everybody else. Because the minimum wage discussion right now is focused mostly on the civil servant. And this is why they're asking for 494,000. Because the government can pay. How about the private businesses? How about the small pop and mom? How about the small kiosks that have a shop assistant? How about the little Yalamala joint that has some assistance to survive? Work. Are you saying it's now paid those people 62,000 is high? That's a minimum hourly rate. That's the starting point. And then look at all the benefits that come with it. Cost of living, energy cost. Those are the things they should focus on. The rising cost of education in Nigeria. Now, do you know almost 60% or if not more of Nigerians put their children in private school, private primary school, private secondary school, private university to get basic education. And the price of those colleges, universities is going so off the roof. There is no any parity. There is no any checks and balance for them. Government is just sitting back and allow private people, private enterprise to rip the population apart. Even in this country, in civilized country, you are not allowed to do. When university in UK were trying to increase their student fees, the government stepped in and said no. The Russell Group University, like the Oxford, the Cambridge, and all those ones wanted to have special amounts that they would charge different from the government said no, because you create a class system. You create a class system. You go to Oxford, you go to Cambridge, you go to Hertfordshire University, you go to Southern College or Manchester University or anywhere there. The standard amount is the standard amount you pay for the same school, for the same course. All over. It's standard, it's fixed. So it's very difficult for private university, even if there's any in the country, to charge more than that because people will not go. You understand? So that is the issue the labor union should be fighting for. They should have gone on the street when the federal government decided to arbitrarily increase, like in Edo State, increase the school fees in Ambrose Ali University and the public university. They should have gone on the street because it's not only affecting the students, it's also affecting the parents of the student who happen to be civil servant, poor as well. Those children that the parents can afford to pay their school fees, they're in private university, the elite, the politician, their children are in UK, America studying. And that is where the labor union should focus. They should hold this politician accountable. How can you have Minister of Education that says he doesn't care while his own children are graduating and the children of the civil servant, the public, the poor are there struggling? If I get the opportunity to speak to them, I say, know your party. Know what you stand for. You stand for the interest of the workers, not just the civil servant alone, but the general workers. What is good for civil servant is good for everybody else. So bargain or negotiate from the power of strength. What is good? Ask for hourly rates. Till date, they've not asked for maximum hours that people should work for. That's why I see some people, they do 12 hours, 7 days a week. Most especially people work in the restaurant. They should ask for overtime pay. That will benefit all workers. That the maximum work a week before you start getting extra pay is 30, 40 hours a week. Anything above that, you get a time and a half or more. You start paying different rates. So that they don't say, we're paying you 30,000 a week, but you're doing 100 hours a week. You're paying you less to nothing. That's the thing they should be fighting for. Hourly rate, maximum hours somebody should work in a week. It should not be more than 37 hours. And the hourly rate should at least be close to 50 naira an hour. Or minimum at the baseline, 20 naira an hour. Minimum, the least. What can you even buy? It means for you to even be able to take 2-3 hours walk to take eat in Nigeria, the smallest loaf of bread that you can buy, the smallest loaf, let's buy small loaf of bread. What do you want to eat with that bread? Let's say akara. How much they sell akara? Akara is 100 naira for akara. The cheapest you find either in Lagos or in Edo State is 100 naira akara. 100 naira. Or you do akara and bread, then you get something to push with it. How much do they sell water bottle? Pure water. Do you honor pure water is 100 naira. Water bottle is about the bottle water about 250, 300 or more, depending. There are around 250 to 300 the whole day, and collecting one meal is your whole day work. Just to eat one meal. That is what labor union should be fighting for. They should be fighting for minimum hourly rate, maximum hour a worker should work. And anything above that, they should be paying them extra. Then they should be fighting for benefits.
Thank you.
Their pension
Thank you so much.
Instance, government matching pension starting funds. That's the only way an average worker, when they retire, they can have some levity that they work 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. They have something extra to fall back to. They should have government matching private funding apart from public fund pension. We should have a standardized pension plan, retirement plan. That's
Thank
what the
you
workers
so much.
union
Thank
should be fighting
you.
for. What is the retirement plan for private sector? 495,000. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I quite agree with your submission. Those are some of the things that the Nigeria Labor Congress should be fighting for. They should be fighting for the hourly rate. Because right now, if you look at it, people work from morning to evening. They don't have hours. There's no law that says this is the number of hours you can work per week or per day. Those are some of the things that the Nigeria Labor Congress should be fighting for, not asking for 494, which is not feasible and which is not possible. Even if it's possible, what are they going to buy with that money when the price of things has gone up? Well, we have almost come to the end of today's program. I want to have your closing remark before I make my submission as well. Your closing remarks, sir.
Yes, and thank you very much for having this show once again, like we do most week. I have a full support for the labor union and the labor and workers in Nigeria and across the world. But I also believe that the labor union can be improved. So they're not sacrosanct to criticism. You can criticize them and still support them to improve them, to make them focus on the priorities rather than self-interest. I want them to know that we are all in the support for them to fight for the workers. But what they are fighting for is not for the workers at this moment. It's just for the few that will benefit the most. In other words, we want them. I would personally say I disagree with government going more than 40,000 per annum. And when Edo State governor, because of politics, Obaseki raised the minimum wage to 70,000 naira, I felt then, and I still feel strongly now, it's a political gimmick that will jeopardize the economic stability of the state and drive us into debt. We will be borrowing money to pay for wages. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. So the union must represent the fact that they must realize they represent all workers, plus including those who are in their union and those who will not. They should be working with the mindset that the benefit they accrued or fighting for will benefit the larger society. And if it does benefit the larger society, it will bring prosperity across board. There will be levity and there also will be balance. Not haves and the gap between the haves and the have-not will close. As I've closed, minimum, they should focus on minimum working week. How many hours is the, is the maximum person can do before they start getting overtime pay? They have to focus on hourly rate. That's the second thing. Hourly rate is very important because when they do hourly rate, it allow not minimum wage a month is nothing if you do it a week in a month. So if they focus on hourly rate, what is the hourly rate that will benefit people? Then that will determine what the person will get at the end of the month. And that is what they should focus on. And they should focus on the general welfare of all workers. Health and safety, safeguarding, whereby a superior does not take advantage of a junior staff, most especially the female staff, where they solicit sex or some inappropriateness from them in order for the such workers to be able to work freely or even survive in the job place. Those are the things they should be fighting for. Security of their fellow colleagues that work weekly working hours per week. That is the direction they should focus this discussion with, and back away from this among us salary demand or hostage they are trying to put the country into. If they're going to go to strike, I would say President Tinubu, let them go to strike and combat them in the public opinion. Expose these leaders. Expose them that they are not fighting for you. They are trying to take advantage and put in hostage. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, my wonderful brother. We have come to the end of this segment on face-to-face program. I honestly believe that the Nigeria Labour Congress is not fighting the right fight on behalf of the Nigerian workers. What they are doing is for their own personal gain. They are only fighting for themselves, not for the Nigerian workers. Like my brother rightly said, there should be a law. They should push for a law that states the number of hours workers can work per day or per week or per month. They should fight or protest against the increment of locally manufactured products. Those are the priorities of an average Nigerians. Those are the priorities of an average Nigerian workers, not 494,000 naira, 494,000 naira, as the Nigerian Labour Congress is fighting for. Then Ajero, the Nigeria Labour Congress president, if you are hearing me, I'm going to tag you on Twitter after this program. The TUC president, Osifo, if you are hearing me, you guys need to go back on the drawing board. 494 is a misplaced priority. Focused on the rising cost of locally manufactured products. Because there was a time in Nigeria history when our parents survived on 1,500 naira as a salary per month. They were able to fund their children's school fees, send their children abroad. They were able to buy higher purchase vehicle on 1,500 naira. What happened to those days? So if you are demanding for 494 or a million naira, at the end of the day, the price of food or locally manufactured commodities are on the roof. There's no way people are going to survive. So I want you guys to go back to the drawing board and start doing the right thing. Fight for the Nigerian workers, not for yourself. Because whatever you do on this earth, you have a day of reckoning. Whatever you do in the period you be in office, you're going to be in office, history will judge you. Do you want to be judged on the right side of history, or you want to be judged on the wrong side? Most of us want to be on the right side. When history is being told, we want to have our name there for good purpose, not for the wrong purpose. So on this note, I say good night, my fellow Nigerians. Thank you, my brother, for always being part of this program. Stay blessed.